Have you ever wondered why some men seem completely spellbound by certain women? As if an invisible force is pulling them in, as if they simply cannot resist. What is it that these women have that you haven't yet discovered? Today I'm going to reveal a secret that few women know. A secret that dives deep into the male mind, touching something so primal, so essential, that once you understand how to use it, you'll see a man transform before your very eyes. We're not talking about superficial tricks or fleeting seduction games. This is something much deeper, something that the renowned psychologist Carl Jung uncovered through his extensive research on the human psyche. Imagine having access to a part of the male mind that he himself doesn't fully understand. A source of energy so powerful that, when channeled properly, it can create not a toxic obsession, but a deeply rooted one for you. This is the power of male sexual energy when it finds its true purpose. And you, my dear, can be the channel for that transformation. And maybe you've tried everything. Maybe you've followed tips from magazines, friends, or even relationship experts, but nothing has truly worked, has it? Because those methods only scratch the surface. They don't reach the core of the male being, that ancient part Jung called the collective unconscious. What I'm about to share with you today is not about manipulation techniques or emotional games. It's sacred knowledge about the deepest nature of a man, knowledge that allows you to connect with him on a level that transcends the physical and even the ordinary emotional. This is the connection that makes a man think of you the moment he wakes up. It's what makes him feel your presence even when you're not there. It's what makes him long for you in a way he has never experienced before. And the most extraordinary part, this power has always been within you. It has always been your birthright as a woman. You simply haven't been taught how to access it and how to use it. Today that changes. Today you rediscover a facet of your femininity that can transform not only your relationships, but your entire life. And before you think this is too complex or too abstract to apply, let me assure you, I'm going to make this so clear, so practical, that you'll be able to start implementing it today. And you'll begin to see the results almost immediately. Get ready to enter a world where the common rules of relationships no longer apply. A world where you don't chase, don't beg, don't diminish yourself. A world where your mere presence is magnetic, where your essence is irresistible. This is the world Jung glimpsed in his theories about the anima and animus, about the shadow and the self. And this is the world I'm about to open up for you now. Before we dive into the depths of this ancient knowledge, I want to ask you something. If you've felt a resonance with what I've shared so far, if something inside you has recognized the truth in these words, please subscribe to this channel right now. And more, write the word awaken in the comments. Yes, type awaken in the comments. And this is not just a word. It's an affirmation of your commitment to your own transformation. It's you declaring to the universe that you are ready to awaken this dormant power within you. Now let's continue our journey together, diving into the fascinating world of Jungian psychology and its power to transform relationships. To understand how to channel male sexual energy, we first need to understand what Carl Jung discovered about the human psyche. Jung wasn't just a psychologist. He was an explorer of the depths of the human soul, a cartographer of the unconscious. Have you ever felt that inexplicable connection with someone, that moment when you look into a man's eyes and feel as if you know his soul? Jung called this archetypal recognition, when something within you recognizes something within him. At the core of Jungian theory is the idea that we all carry both masculine and feminine aspects within us. In women, the inner masculine element is called the animus. In men, the inner feminine element is called the anima. And this is exactly where the secret we're exploring today resides. A man's anima is his inner image of the feminine. She is the woman of his dreams, the figure who lives in his unconscious. And when you, as a real woman in his life, manage to connect with that inner image, magic happens. But how does this relate to sexual energy? You've probably already sensed that male sexuality goes far beyond the physical. A man can be physically attracted to many women, but to become truly obsessed with her, that's rare. That happens when his sexual energy, which Jung saw as one of the most powerful forces in the psyche, finds a channel of expression that resonates with his anima. Think of sexual energy as a powerful underground current. When it's blocked or directed solely toward fleeting pleasure, it loses its transformative potential. But when it's channeled through a deep connection with a woman who awakens his anima, that energy becomes a creative, inspiring, and yes, obsessive force. It's as if you hold the key to a door inside him that he didn't even know existed. A door that, once opened, releases not only desire but devotion. Let's be clear, this is not about manipulation, it's about authentic connection, about creating a sacred space where his energy can naturally flow in your direction because you represent something that deeply resonates with his innermost being. You've already noticed how some men seem to awaken when they're around certain women, how they become more alive, more present, more radiant. That's because those women, consciously or unconsciously, are touching his anima. They are allowing his sexual energy to transform into something greater than mere physical desire. In my research and practical application of these Jungian theories, I've identified 5 main paths through which you can connect with a man's anima and thereby channel his sexual energy to create a healthy form of obsession. The first path is through receptive presence. The anima is receptive by nature. When you cultivate a presence that is both strong and open, not domineering but deeply welcoming, you create a magnetic field that draws his energy in. Imagine yourself as a sacred vessel, not empty, but overflowing with your own power. A man senses this instinctively. He feels that he can pour himself into you, his hopes, his fears, his deepest desires, and be received without judgment. The second path is through multi-level communication. The anima speaks through symbols, dreams, intuitions. When you learn to speak not only to his conscious mind, but also to his unconscious, you build a bridge that very few people in his life have ever built. This doesn't mean speaking in riddles or being deliberately mysterious. It means allowing your communication to be rich in metaphor, in stories, in emotionally resonant images. It means sometimes letting silence speak, letting a glance say what words cannot. The third path is through mirroring the shadow. Jung spoke extensively about the shadow, those parts of ourselves that we repress, that we hide from the world and even from ourselves. Every man carries a shadow, parts of himself he's afraid to show. When you're able to see those hidden parts of him without fear, without judgment, something profound happens. He feels seen, truly seen, perhaps for the first time. And that creates a bond that is nearly unbreakable. The fourth path is through sacred polarity. Jung understood that the most powerful attraction comes from the balance between similarity and difference. You need to have shared values and compatible worldviews, yes, but you also need to keep the energetic polarity between masculine and feminine alive. This has nothing to do with stereotypes or traditional roles. It has to do with energy. When you fully embrace your feminine energy, which can manifest in countless ways, all equally powerful, you create an energetic field that complements and intensifies his masculine energy. And finally, the fifth path is through initiation into mystery. The anima is intrinsically tied to mystery, to the unknown. When you keep elements of discovery, inner adventure, and mutual growth alive in your relationship, you nourish not only his interest, but a genuine obsession with what the two of you are creating together. All these paths operate on a core principle. Energy follows attention. When you become the focus of a man's attention, not by demanding it, but by deserving it through your own fullness, his sexual energy naturally flows in your direction. It's important to understand that what I'm sharing with you goes far beyond surface-level techniques. I'm not talking about rehearsed gestures or specific words to say. I'm talking about a way of being, a presence you cultivate day by day, moment by moment. There's something profoundly liberating about this approach. You're not trying to become someone you're not in order to attract a man. On the contrary, you are becoming more of who you truly are, the most complete, radiant, and connected version of yourself. And it is this authenticity that is irresistible. This integrated presence is what makes a man think of you when you're not around. It's what makes him want to be close to you, not just physically, but on every possible level. Jung believed that the ultimate goal in life is individuation, the process of becoming wholly and authentically who you are. And interestingly, it's exactly when you are on this path of self-discovery and self-expression that you become most magnetic, most capable of awakening and channeling a man's energy. It's as if the universe rewards your courage to be your true self by offering you connections that resonate with that authenticity. Connections that don't drain you, but energize you. Connections that don't shrink you, but expand you. As you begin applying these principles, you'll notice subtle but profound changes in how men respond to you, not just the specific man you may want to attract or rekindle a bond with, but all men in your life. Because what we're talking about here is a shift in your energetic field. It's as if you begin to emit a new frequency, one that communicates without words. I know the mysteries, I am the mystery. And to a man, especially a man who longs for something deeper than shallow encounters, this is the most attractive frequency that exists. Now that we understand the fundamentals of Jungian psychology and how they relate to attraction, let's dive into the specific practices that allow you to channel male sexual energy. This is the moment where theory becomes action, where knowledge becomes power. The first step, and perhaps the most crucial, is recognizing that male sexual energy is not just about sex. It is a vital force that flows through every aspect of a man's life, his creativity, his willpower, his ability to build and protect. Jung understood this deeply. He saw libido not merely as sexual energy, but as the life force that drives all creation. When a man directs this energy toward you, he is essentially channeling his creative power in your direction. And this, my dear, is far more powerful than mere physical desire. To begin this process of channeling, you must first become aware of your own sexual energy. Yes, you read that correctly. Before you can influence his energy, you must know and own yours. Many women have been conditioned to disconnect from their sexuality, to see it as something separate from their spirituality, creativity, or essence. But in truth, your sexual energy is a direct expression of your life force. It is sacred. It is powerful. When you fully inhabit your body, when you embrace your sensuality not as a performance for others, but as a celebration of your own vitality, something extraordinary happens. You become magnetic in a way that transcends physical beauty or flirtation. Try this practice every morning before your day begins. Take a few moments to consciously connect with your body. Feel every part of it. Give thanks for its strength, its flexibility, its ability to experience pleasure. Visualize your sexual energy as a warm, golden light radiating from your center, spreading through your entire being. This simple practice, done consistently, will begin to shift your energetic frequency. Men will feel it. They won't know exactly what has changed, but they will feel a deeper, more magnetic pull toward you. The second step is learning how to create a sacred space of connection. I'm not just talking about a physical environment, though that does matter, but about an energetic and emotional space where a man feels he can reveal himself completely. Many men live in a constant state of armor. From a young age, they're conditioned to hide their vulnerabilities, to always appear strong, to suppress any parts of themselves that don't fit into the narrow definition of masculinity that society imposes. When you create a space where he feels safe enough to take off this armor, where he can be vulnerable, sensitive, and uncertain, you're offering something that very few people in his life have ever given him. You allow him to experience a release that is both emotional and energetic. And here's the magic. When a man feels safe to show every side of himself in your presence, he associates that feeling of freedom and expansion with you. He begins to long for your presence, not only for temporary pleasure, but for the profound sense of liberation that being with you brings. How do you create this space? through non-judgmental listening, through genuine acceptance, through the ability to see beyond the masks he wears for the world. When he shares something difficult, don't rush to fix it or offer advice. Just be present. Acknowledge what he's feeling. Show through your eyes, your posture, your touch, that you see him and accept him exactly as he is. The third step, and here we enter truly transformational territory, is learning how to work with his shadow. As mentioned earlier, Jung saw the shadow as the parts of ourselves that we repress or deny. Every man carries shadows, fears he won't admit, desires that embarrass him, aspects of himself he deems unacceptable, and within these shadows lies a vast reservoir of repressed sexual energy. When you learn to recognize a man's shadows, not to exploit or manipulate them, but to integrate them, you free up an enormous amount of energy that was previously used to keep those parts hidden. A practical example, maybe he struggles to express need, to show vulnerability. Maybe he's been conditioned to always appear strong, independent, unbreakable. This constant repression of his vulnerability consumes a tremendous amount of energy. When you create situations where he can gradually express need, where he can be cared for without feeling weak, you're helping him integrate his shadow. And the energy that was once used to repress that need is now freed up, and much of it will naturally flow in your direction. The fourth step involves the power of projection and reflection. Jung discovered that we often project onto others what we do not yet recognize within ourselves, and this is especially true in romantic attraction. A man projects his anima, his inner image of the feminine, onto the woman he feels drawn to, and when you understand the specific elements that shape his anima, you can consciously reflect aspects of them, creating an almost mystical connection. How do you discover the elements of his anima? Pay attention to what fascinates him. Notice the women, real or fictional, he admires. Observe recurring themes in his dreams, his fantasies, what moves him emotionally. Every man's anima is unique, shaped by his life experiences, his early relationships with female figures, and cultural influences. But there are common archetypes that frequently appear. The muse who inspires, the healer who restores, the Amazon who challenges, the priestess who initiates him into mysteries. Once you identify which of these archetypes resonate most deeply with his anima, you can consciously embody and express those qualities, not as a performance but as genuine aspects of yourself that you choose to highlight. The fifth step, and perhaps the most powerful, invokes what Jung called the conjunctio, the sacred union of opposites. It is in this deep meeting between the masculine and feminine, not just physically but energetically, emotionally, spiritually, that true alchemy occurs. In the alchemical tradition that so deeply influenced Jung, the union of sun and moon, of king and queen, produced the rebes, the hermaphroditic being representing wholeness. In modern psychological terms, it is the moment when two people meet so fully that something entirely new is created, something that transcends the sum of its parts. This is the kind of connection that generates not just attraction or even love, but obsession in the most beautiful sense, a constant preoccupation, a continuing fascination, a desire to explore the infinite depths of one another. To facilitate this alchemical union, learn to consciously work with polarities. In moments of intimacy, not just sexual, but any moment of deep connection, practice the art of alternating between assertiveness and receptivity, between giving and receiving, between leading and allowing. This dance of polarities creates a dynamic, energetic field that is incredibly stimulating to the male psyche. It's as if you are constantly revealing new layers of yourself, never fully predictable, never completely known. And it's precisely this ongoing mystery that keeps the obsession alive. A man never tires of a woman who continues to surprise him, not with tricks or games, but with the genuine depth of her being. The final element of this transformative practice involves the power of shared rituals. Jung deeply understood the power of ritual to connect the conscious with the unconscious, to create bridges between the mundane and the sacred. When you create intentional rituals in your relationship, recurring moments of meaningful connection, shared practices you do regularly, you are essentially building anchors for his sexual energy. These rituals can be simple, a specific way of greeting each other, a morning habit of sharing dreams, a moment of silent connection before sleep. What matters most is that they are consistent and meaningful to both of you. Over time, these rituals become powerful conductors of energy. The mere anticipation of them begins to awaken in him an altered state of awareness associated with you. And gradually, even when you are physically apart, the memory of these shared rituals keeps the energetic bond alive. By applying these practices in your life, you will embark on a transformation far greater than just attracting or obsessing a man. You will discover that you are simultaneously transforming yourself and the relationship you wish to create. This is the beauty of the Jungian approach. It does not separate attraction from personal growth. On the contrary, it sees them as parts of the same process of individuation, of becoming fully who you truly are. And here lies a truth that few women understand. The ability to channel a man's sexual energy is not a power you hold over him. It is a power you awaken within yourself. As you become more conscious of your own energy, more capable of inhabiting your body and your femininity, more willing to embrace both your light and your shadow, you naturally become magnetic. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. This stands in stark contrast to the superficial attraction methods that flood our culture. This is not about manipulation or mind games. This is about radical authenticity, full presence, and genuine connection. And the results are transformative on multiple levels. First, you'll notice how men respond to you differently, more deeply. There will be more focused attention, deeper respect, a stronger presence. Even if they don't consciously understand why, they'll feel that they're in the presence of a woman who knows her own power. Second, with the specific man you wish to attract or reawaken, you'll begin to see unmistakable signs that his energy is flowing in your direction. He will begin to seek your presence in ways that go beyond physical desire. He'll crave your wisdom, your perspective, your essence. You will become a source of inspiration, not just an object of desire. You'll notice that he becomes more creative, more alive, more dynamic in your presence, as if something within him that was asleep or blocked is now awakening. He'll show genuine interest not just in being with you, but in growing with you. The relationship will become a vehicle for mutual evolution, a space to explore new dimensions of consciousness together. And yes, desire will intensify. But not just physical desire, it will be a yearning that permeates every layer: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. A desire that doesn't exhaust itself in momentary satisfaction, but constantly renews itself. What we are describing here is nothing less than the transformation of lust into love, of attraction into devotion. It is the kind of connection mystic poets describe when they speak of the lover and the beloved as mirrors of the divine. There is something deeply sacred about this kind of bond, not because it's perfect or without challenges, but because it becomes a space of continuous revelation, of unveiling the depths of both souls. Jung believed that romantic relationships, when approached with awareness, could be the most powerful catalyst for psychological and spiritual growth. That in the mirror of the other, we can discover parts of ourselves that would otherwise remain hidden. And when a man finds in you not just a partner, but a portal to deeper layers of himself, when your connection helps him integrate his own dualities, reconcile his inner anima and animus, the obsession he develops for you is not destructive, it is regenerative, it heals, it inspires, it transforms. It's also important to address the potential challenges of this path, because like any process of deep transformation, this one is not without its difficulties. As you begin working with these powerful energies within yourself and in connection with another person, you will inevitably awaken unconscious material. Memories, patterns, wounds that may have long been dormant will begin to emerge, to be recognized and integrated. This process can be uncomfortable. Sometimes it brings to light insecurities, fears, and shadows you would rather not face. And the same will happen for him. This is why compassion, for yourself and for him, is an essential part of the journey. This is why I emphasize the creation of a safe space where vulnerability can be expressed without judgment. Because the goal isn't to create a facade of perfection, but to cultivate an authenticity that embraces every part of who you both are. It is within this radical acceptance that true power lies. Another potential challenge is energetic imbalance. When you begin working with these powerful forces, it's essential to maintain a sense of equilibrium and integrity. This isn't about dominating the other or allowing yourself to be dominated. That's why self-care and self-connection are fundamental. That's why every practice I've suggested starts with your own awareness, your own grounding, your own wholeness, because the kind of obsession we aim to create is not based on dependency or imbalance, but on mutual recognition, mutual celebration, and shared elevation. And finally, it's important to acknowledge that this path is not for everyone. It requires courage, it demands commitment, it asks you to face uncomfortable truths about yourself and about the other. It requires that you are willing to be vulnerable, to take emotional risks, to open yourself in ways you may have never allowed before. It asks you to see the man not as a means to fulfill your needs, but as a complete being with his own depths and mysteries. But for those who are willing to walk this path, the rewards are beyond measure, not only in terms of attraction or relationship, but in terms of self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and authentic connection. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is not just how to make a man obsessed with you. It's about how to create a field of conscious love where both of you can fully flourish. It's about transforming sexual energy, perhaps the most powerful force in existence, from something that often divides or exploits into something that unites and elevates. And perhaps the most extraordinary part, as you learn to channel his energy, you'll discover that you are simultaneously channeling and amplifying your own. You are reclaiming parts of yourself that may have been repressed or neglected. You are recovering a vision of the feminine that goes far beyond limiting stereotypes or prescribed roles. You are touching an ancient wisdom that has always lived in your blood, your bones, your soul. And in this process of remembering, of returning to yourself, you don't just become irresistible to him, you become essential to his journey. You become a catalyst for his evolution, just as he becomes a catalyst for yours. This mutual transformation creates the kind of bond that endures, one that deepens over time, that continues to fascinate and inspire long after the initial novelty fades. This is the relational alchemy Jung envisioned as possible between man and woman when both are willing to do the inner work. And this is the potential I invite you to explore starting today, with clear intention, with an open heart, with a courageous spirit. Because in the end, your greatest power of attraction is not something you do or something you have. It is who you are when you are fully present, fully alive, fully connected to the source of your own feminine energy. It is this radiant presence that makes a man feel like he has found not just a partner, but a destiny, not just a relationship, but a home for his soul. If this content resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition, that deep inner yes that rises when a profound truth is spoken, then share this video right now with other women who also deserve to know this power that lives within them. Sharing this knowledge is an act of sisterhood, of mutual elevation. And don't stop here. Your journey is only beginning. Watch the next video now appearing on your screen. Click the card and step into what's next.